Yeah. So, um, I don't really believe it has anything to do with whose face is on the actual coins or money. Because I mean, if you want to look at it from a collector's point of view, okay, yeah. But I'm looking at it from a monetary sense. The people who run the world, especially the Queen of England and her and the so-called royal family, um, they're not giving up power. They're just um, changing the way how the monetary system is run, right? And in order to do that, you do have to give up a little bit of power. Not really power, but you're gonna have to give up a little bit of money because in order to get people on board to invest and adopt this new blockchain based system, right? Which Bitcoin will be the fabric along with XRP and all of this. You have to let a few people get rich because nobody's going to invest in digital money unless people actually are getting rich. Otherwise, you wouldn't be interested in it, right? You would just think it's a scam or a Ponzi scheme like everybody else. And so when people actually see other people getting rich off of Bitcoin and other digital assets, that's what's going to make people interested in it, right? Because this world is run by money. So you could promise people anything in the world when, there's a saying, put your money where your mouth is. And so why are people even interested in Bitcoin and blockchain? Well, yes, it's a more convenient way to um, to transact, but who's going to give up privacy, right? Because we all know with blockchain, privacy is pretty much eliminated, right? So everything is going to be transparent. But what will make people even give up their privacy? Well, you got to pay them, right? Just like people are willing to do anything for money. So in order to incentivize people, you're going to have to make a few people rich in order to get the rest of the world interested in investing in blockchain technology, right? And so in order for the new economy to have any legitimacy, it has to be backed by physical assets. That includes land, gold, silver, real estate, natural resources like copper, nickel, palladium, all this other stuff, right? Cobalt, zinc, iron, whatever earth mineral you want to include in there, right? And so the old system is collapsing because we got away from the system being backed by gold and silver. Because you can only inflate gold and silver, but by so much before it just starts becoming monopoly, phony money, right? And so, being that in order for the economy to get to where it is now, they had to take the entire world's economy off of the gold standard because you can't print billions and trillions of dollars if the economy was backed by gold because there's only but so much gold to go around, right? So you can't. If I only have 100 ounces of gold, how much could I say? I can't say I have 500 ounces of gold because it's physically not there. So you can say maybe I have 120 ounces and inflate it a little bit, but you can't really just keep going overboard because why? Somebody could just say, "Give me the gold. I want to make delivery." All right, you say you have 100 ounces of gold, and I have 100. I have the same equivalent amount of physical money in the system. I can anytime I can trade it in. I can say, well, I want to trade in my paper money for the physical value of the gold and silver that you say that's available because I just want to cash it in. You don't need to know the reason why. I want to make good, right? That's how the system was run back in the day, right? You went to the bank, you had 100 ounces of silver, they'll give you the equivalent of 100 ounces of paper money. And then you can go into any bank at any time, anywhere in the world, and cash it in and say, hey, I want to cash in the equivalent of 100 ounces of silver. And then they will give you 100 ounces of silver. They might charge you a little bit, a little fee for the convenience, right? That's how they make their money, cool. But that's it, right? And that's how the world was run. Well, what happens when you say, hey, I have 100 ounces of silver, but I'm going to print, 500 ounces of paper money, and then I'm going to give that out. And now, if everybody wants to cash in their silver at the same time, 400 ounces of silver is not going to be available for redemption because it won't be physically there. So now, if everybody comes at the same time and says, "Hey, I want to take out my physical silver or gold," where you can't make it appear out of thin air because somebody has to actually get that out of the physical ground. So that's why they started inflating money and took everything off of the gold standard, because now you can print an unlimited amount and say you have the physical silver and gold, but you really don't, because they know not everybody's going to cash it in at the same time, because we're no longer backed by gold and silver. And so with 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 the taking off the world's monetary system off of gold and silver, it now allowed the banks to print an oblivion amount of money into existence. And what happens when you keep deflating something, right? It loses its value. It's just like saying, let's say I had a pair of Jordans, right? And there was only 10 pairs of these Jordans ever made in the world. Will the value of the Jordans be high? Yes, because there's only 10. And so now you can charge people whatever you want. You can charge people $1 million for a pair, and somebody somewhere is going to pay it. Why? Because the value is only 100 pair in the whole world. Just like when they make these special cars where like the company make a special edition car where it's only like 10 of them ever made, and so now the car is worth, $1.5 million because there's only a few of them ever made, right? Now, what happens if those same Jordans, instead of Nike only making 100 pairs, what if Nike made 100 million pairs? Guess what? Now the sneaker's only worth $5, $10 because it's so common. Everybody has it. It's common. Everybody can get it. I can't go around and try to sell that same pair of Jordans for $1 million or $500 because everybody can get it. It's so common. It's the same thing, the same concept when it comes to physical silver and gold, right? So with them resetting the monetary system, same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is rare because why? It's only 21 million ever made, which gives it its value. Same thing with all these coins and crypto. Same thing with physical silver and physical gold. Although physical gold and silver, there is an unlimited amount of it because we don't know how much of it is actually in the earth. However, how many people have a mind? How many people is physically digging up the earth to extract the physical gold and silver, right? So that's why the true value of silver and gold is high, because it takes actual labor to actually pull it out of the ground, smelt it, refine it, and then put it into an actual gold and bar format, right? So all of that takes physical labor and work. And so that's why they gotta charge you for it. So that's why when people who excuse me if I'm talking weird, I'm driving, but that's why people who are like millionaires and billionaires, why are they flocking to gold and silver? Why are they selling off millions of shares of their assets? Because one, the assets in the stock market is backed by nothing, it's backed by paper. And so they're cashing that in and they're buying actual money, which is silver and gold, because when the monetary system resets, right? And there's no more paper money, the last man holding the bag is going to lose. And who's the last man holding the bag? The general public. So while the rich people and the corporations are buying up land, silver, gold, mineral, land rights, water rights, they're buying up actual tangible assets, collectibles, watches, rare cars, anything they can get, paintings, anything they can get their hands on, which is physical, right? And you can touch it. And Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin is not physical, it does have value because there's only 21 million ever made. You can't fuck with the code, right, and those other stuff. So that's also included, right? And so people are scooping this up like it's no tomorrow, while the regular people are worried about pop the balloon and OnlyFans and all this nonsense and going out partying, spending money, right? The people, smart money, right, what they call smart money, they're buying up assets like physical gold and silver. The best thing I would tell you is to buy silver, because silver is actually more rare than gold. Gold is not rare. The only difference is that gold is just expensive, but it's not rare. Silver is actually rare. And so when the monetary system resets, right, what's going to happen is the true value of silver is going to be realized. Why? Everybody's going to go to try to buy silver. It's going to be the demand for silver and gold and Bitcoin is going to be so freaking high that the mines are going to sell out, the dealers are going to sell out, and so happens when you have corporations that need silver, like anybody that makes cars, electronics, and all that stuff, they need silver. You have to have it in order to make the electronics work, right? So there's an industry that needs silver. The medical industry needs silver because that's a common ingredient in a lot of antiviral and medications. Then you have the electronics, the car manufacturer side, like the electric cars that need it. Then you have the monetary side, right? And so when all these people are trying to scramble at the same time to grab this asset because it's considered real money, right? It is not inflated. Silver and gold is not inflated, it's deflated. So when everybody runs to these assets, the price of silver and gold is going to skyrocket. And the people at the top are talking about $50,000 plus the true value of gold. This is why the whole Fort Knox thing they were talking about it. He was trying to tell the public without saying it indirectly. The price of silver and gold right now, the price of gold is about $3,000 an ounce. The price of silver is about it's about 40 to 40, between $35 and $40 an ounce, right? Which is like crackhead prices. What happens when Tesla needs silver? Samsung TV needs silver. The big pharma needs silver, and then the people who who deal with money needs the financial industry. They all need the silver. The price of it is going to go up, not because of the value of it, because it's just going to be that hard to come by, right? And so the demand for it is not going to be able to keep up with the supply. And so this happens every single fiat currency system collapse. I sent you guys a bunch of videos on it. The best information on this is a guy called Mike Maloney, Maloney, Maloney. He basically spent his whole life preaching on it, holding lectures, and he has charts going back to the 1800s all the way. He even had charts going back to the 1500s, but it's really hard to get historical data. They hide the historical data. Why? Because if you saw how the past was, the past predicts the future predicts the past, right? If you see that every 80 to 100 years, the fiat currency collapses, and the price of silver and gold skyrocket, where the people holding physical silver and gold make millions, and the people who holding paper money lose millions. Every 80 to 100 years, like clockwork, everybody and their mama will be stacking up silver and gold. But they don't want the general public to know it, and so they keep the historical data hidden, and they keep telling people, oh, buy bonds and treasuries, buy this, buy that. And they're not telling you, hey, you need to buy Bitcoin, you need to buy XRP, you need to buy XCN, you need to buy physical silver, you need to buy land, you need to buy real estate, you need to buy water, you need to buy food, you need to buy essentials and goods just in case the grid goes down. They're not telling the public that because they know the rich people are going to be have been buying it up, and it's going to be too little too late when the general public finally catches on to what's going on. Silver, they're saying silver's going to hit between $5,000 to $10,000 a coin, and gold is going to hit anywhere between $10,000 to $100,000 a coin. They say it may not happen at once, and they say that's their true value. And right now, you can go to usdebtclock.org, and if you click on the precious metals part in the bottom, they show you the actual physical amount, the actual value amount of actual coins, and that's what the value should be with the corrupt economy, but then they don't show you what the true value is going to be once the system resets. There's a whole bunch of YouTube videos, online, with people, predicting what the prices are going to be, silver and gold bugs, people who own mines and people who've been, alive for like more than 60 years. They can tell you, hey, when I was a child and the system collapsed, this is how much the prices of silver and gold went to. But that was just like localized collapses. Now we're talking about a global monetary system collapse. If you go back, that's why I like following Mike Maloney, because he actually shows you actual proof. He goes back and he shows you the historical charts, and he shows you how much the value of silver and gold was. And in some charts, the ratio was 100,000 to 1. That means that a silver coin was worth 100,000 fucking bucks, or a gold coin was worth $100,000 in their respective currencies, right? So whatever the yuan was, whatever the sterling or pound or whatever system that they have don't even exist no more. Whatever that particular nation's currency was, that's what the ratio was. So imagine a gold coin. Imagine you being able to buy a gold coin right now for $3,000, and then in the next 10 years it jumps from $3,000 to $50,000, and you have 10 coins that that you accumulated over the years. Just do the math. 50,000 times 10. That's $500,000. You can literally take a gold coin and go put a down payment on a house. And this is what he's talking about. He's saying it's going to get to the point where people will be able to take silver and go put a down payment on a house, or you go to a used car lot and you be able to buy up the entire lot of cars just off of one silver coin. Like that's how it really was back then when the system collapsed. The haves versus the have-nots. The people who were rich got richer, and the people who were poor got poorer. And this is what you call like serfdom, peasantry, right? The serfs, the lords, the feudal times, right? This is exactly how they kept the money rotating in the family. Anyway, I don't want to get too long. I just wanted to put the information out there. Very good observation. I would suggest everybody right now to buy physical silver, buy physical gold, because at the end of the day, you don't really know where this crypto stuff is going to go, but you do know for sure that physical silver and gold it can't lose its value. It can only go up, right? It's already suppressed. That's the thing about it. Silver and gold cannot go lower. It is already suppressed to its lowest point. The reason why they keep trading all these paper contracts against silver and gold is to keep the price down, because the price always wants to shoot up, and so they keep taking out all these ETFs and paper contracts on it on purpose just to force the price back down. This has been going on since the 1970s. If they don't do that every single day, if they don't do it, the price of silver and gold will shoot back up to its true value. And so every single day, you can look this up, the people who run the world have to purposely short silver and gold. And if you don't know what shorting is, there's YouTube videos explaining what it is. Every single day they have to short silver and gold by billions of dollars every single day. They got to bet against it every single day just to keep the price of silver and gold down, just so they can keep running this Ponzi scheme, aka fractional reserve banking underneath the Federal Reserve. And if you don't believe me, go look up how much money they print every day. There's people who work in the Fed that say they have to print trillions of dollars every single month in order to keep the system from collapsing, because it already collapsed, right? 2008 is when the system collapsed. And what they did was they printed out trillions of dollars to prop the system back up. So they say the system is already dead. It's like a zombie, and it is keeping it alive by, a zombie is only alive because of the electrical signals that's going through the body, but it doesn't have no conscience. It's dead, right? It's rotting. It's dead. It doesn't have no awareness. The consciousness has left. It's only alive through to electrical signals that's being circulating throughout the body. That's what a zombie is, right? They're saying that's the same exact thing with the economy right now. It's dead. It already died back in 2008. It died in 1987. It died so many times, but 2008 was like the final, okay, it's dead. And in order for them to keep it's like a zombie, they keep propping up the system by printing trillions of dollars every single day. But it's going to get to the point where you can't keep printing that much money, because you have to keep printing more and more and more and more and more and more and more to the point where you can't print no more, because now the U.S. dollar is only worth 3 cents. What happens when it gets to 2 cents, 1 cent? Then it's going to get to a point where it's negative, where it's negative money, where no matter how much money you print, it's negative money, and then it's going to all implode eventually. And this is what all the banks are preparing for. This is what if you follow my channel on YouTube, the Crypto Decoder, I posted where the FDIC literally said this. They said we're having this meeting so that we can, when the banks collapse, they didn't say if, they said when. They said when the banks collapse, the FDIC is going to have to assume power of attorney. And if you don't know what power of attorney is, that means that they have sole custody and ownership temporarily of the entire banking system, and they're going to have to act as the power attorney for the banks, and they're going to have to be in charge and selling off and liquidating the bank's assets. And they said, do not tell the general public this, because if we tell the public, it's actually going to speed up the collapse, because the public is going to panic, because the public doesn't understand what's going on. All they're going to know is that, the bank's collapsing, get their money out. and then everybody's gonna take their money out at the same time, and that's gonna accelerate the collapse. And then you're gonna have they want it to be a controlled demolition, right? They don't want it to be chaos. They want to remember the whole point. They want to assume and maintain power. And so, in order to maintain power, they're gonna have a demolition where they're gonna have each level collapse under controlled circumstances so that they can control the collapse, right? And so they're saying do not tell the general public because they're going to panic and they're going to all withdraw their money at the same time, and it's going to force the collapse to happen immediately. And so they're saying let the general public believe that the system is still working for them, and they don't need to know this. This is out their own mouth, and I have it on my YouTube channel. It's like a 1-minute clip. I kind of like cut and pasted it so that I just give like all the key parts of it. I'll actually send it as soon as I get finished what I'm doing. And this is what's going on, man. People don't really know like the severity of it. Like the system is already dead, and it's only a matter of time for a major bank to collapse. That's all it takes, and then the domino effect. None of these banks have money, by the way. None of these corporations have money. They're all, from what I've researched, almost all the major companies already collapsed, like Amazon, Google. A lot of these companies that you think are big, giant corporations, they already collapsed. And the only reason why they're still up and running is because they're getting bailout money from the government every single month. And the reason why the government is giving them money is not because they're just giving them money. Like, nobody gives nobody money for no reason. They're giving them money to that because, remember, Amazon is a huge company. If Amazon goes down, you know how many lives will be affected? You know how many jobs will be lost? You know how many, like, people won't be able to get their packages? Like, it is a big deal. Not only that, Amazon also controls half of the internet. Half of the internet is run on AWS, Amazon Web Services. I need to do a YouTube on this because people don't understand how intricately linked the corporations and the banks are. They're all intertwined. If one goes down, they all go down because they all invest in each other. So imagine Amazon goes down, it'll take JP Morgan, but JP Morgan will take down Amazon because JP Morgan has billions invested in Amazon, and Amazon has billions invested in JP Morgan. So they all invest in each other. So if one goes down, the other goes down. That's why they're giving money out to everybody because they have to keep the system looking like it's still alive. And it's only a matter of time. That's why that's why I follow news from other governments, because when you follow news outside of America's not going to tell the public what's really going on. You got to go outside of America because they don't have no obligation to no political or no obligation to lie to the American people because they're not American. The American economy doesn't affect there, even though it does. And so when you go to follow news outside of America, they'll tell you the truth. Like, hey, this corporation is shut down. This country already collapsed. You know how many countries their economies already collapsed? People are going to the banks. The banks are shut down. They got military vehicles and armored trucks outside the banks because people are like storming the banks and trying to kill the CEOs. And this is why all the CEOs are stepping down. Why? Because nobody wants to be the head of the ship when the ship goes down because they know people are going to come for their head. Just like in this feudal times, they're all afraid of the public. People don't understand how much power the public really has, but you guys are scared because of the police. Police can't shoot everybody. Police can't shoot 350 million people. They may have enough bullets for like 1 million people. They don't got enough bullets for 350 million people. And yes, some of those are babies, so we can't really say 350. Some of them are old people. So let's just say maybe. Anyway, this is part 2. My car just turned off, so the recording stopped. But yeah, they don't have enough money to shoot everybody. So all I can say is this: stack your physical silver, stack your gold. When this shit goes down, it's going to be epic. The CEOs are all stepping down. They're all buying underground bunkers. They think it's going to protect them. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Will the grid go down? I believe so because, I mean, think about it. Who's going to go to work if they can't get paid? Now, some people, the one thing I will give to Caucasians is that and I know I'm singling them out because some of them really do believe in this country. And so, black people are not going to go to work
without getting paid, especially in a country that's been terrorizing them for the last couple of 100 years. But, you got some Caucasians who may work at essential jobs like, power plants and stuff like that actually would go to work because they understand that they have to in order to keep their own family alive and safe. But you can't expect everybody to think like that. And plus, you'll be more concerned about protecting yourself and your family. So when the corporations go down, the banks go down, who's going to pay them? So people are not going to go to work if they can't get paid, right? And then people are going to be worried about food and water and safety. And so that's why I tell people stockpile silver and gold and food and water and essentials like solar batteries and solar stoves and solar everything, because who knows how long it will take for the system to come back up. They already have a solution in plan, which is the blockchain, but they may let people kill each other off because they been trying to depopulate the planet for the longest. So, hey, why not let people panic and kill each other off for a few? And not only that, the art of war, when people don't have, electricity and power, and you let them panic for a while, they'll accept anything in order to have things go back to the way it was, which it's not. And so it's easier to control people when people haven't had any electricity for 2-3 months. And now they're panicking. People are getting raped and killed and the house broken into and, the shit stolen. And so after people kill each other off and there's chaos and blood in the street, people will accept anything. Then you could usher in the surveillance state. Then you could usher in AI. Then you could usher in the drones. And then you could usher in the central bank digital currency. Then you could usher in the blockchain where people don't have no privacy and they're being tracked. And all this shit is easier to push on people now because they're desperate. They don't got no food, no water, no safety, no electricity, no emergency services, no ambulance, no hospitals. Maybe the hospitals may be still up and running, but they don't have no police, none of that stuff, because the police are trying to protect their own family, right? And so now it's easier to force people to accept the okie doke, right? To accept having their freedoms and rights taken away, right? So you got to think this is what their whole plan is this is what their whole plan is, right? I can go into more details proving what I'm saying, but you guys understand, you just follow logic, right? And so this is what these people are planning on doing. And so even if you have gold and silver, protect it. Don't keep it in no vault in some company, because a lot of these companies, they're backed by insurance companies. What happens when insurance companies go down? The safest companies to invest in is the original insurance companies, right? The shits that call like Dutch and Dutch or Lords and shit like that, right? Those are the original insurance companies. Because remember, the insurance companies have to be insured by an insurer, by an insurer, by an insurer. So when one insurance company goes down, their company that insures them is going to go down. A company that insures that company is going to go down. So who's the original insurance companies are the companies that you want to invest in, because the banks are insured. What happens when the companies that insure the banks go down? You're gonna lose your money. The only insurance companies that's still gonna be around are the original insurance companies, which you got to do your research and find out what companies those are. And a lot of times those companies are not on the stock market. Those companies you can only invest in by being an elite or being a family that has a name. You get what I'm saying? So shit, we're fucked. The best thing you could do is just live out in the woods or live in a community of like-minded people who would defend the, form a militia, hide your gold and shit under the ground or something. Like, I'm dead ass. That's the only thing you can really do at this point is to stack your chips and don't tell nobody what you have. Invest in silver, gold, and food. I mean, even if you invest in food, people could come and rob you and take your shit, So, shit, it's just a time we're gonna have to just fight and pray that we live through it. Invest in weapons and shit that you need to protect your family. The best thing though is to really live out in the middle of nowhere, or to have an underground bunker, or to live in a community where everybody thinks the same. They all can defend each other if shit hits the fan. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. This is Gnosis. I hope that helped. I hope that helped push things into perspective for people. And I'm sorry if I'm talking really fast. It's because I'm trying to get in this place before they close. Anyway, Gnosis. Peace.